Don't we all love summer vacation, relaxing, laying out by the pool, barbecues, hitting the beach, doing, well, nothing? Well, how about a summer vacation from your house payments? With SaveWithConrad.com, you can do just that. Reduce your monthly payments by making the equity you built up in your home work for you. You can roll together those high interest rate credit cards into one lower monthly payment and perhaps access some of that newfound equity to turn your house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. And how about this? You get to skip your next two house payments. That's right. You won't have to make your June or your July house payment. You're done until August 1st. Go right now to SaveWithConrad.com. Let my team run the numbers for you for free. There's no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. And did I mention we're offering a 3-year guarantee right now? That's right. That means if at any point interest rates improve over the next 3 years, you get a free refi. That's right. No new lender fees from us. So you get to save money now without wasting money later when the rates improve on a whole second set of closing costs. Why not go to SaveWithConrad.com and get a guarantee? Save money now and save money later with your friend in the mortgage business. That's me, Conrad Thompson at SaveWithConrad.com. Shoot me an email at Conrad@SaveWithConrad.com. Give us a call at 888-425-0105. Or get yourself a quick quote, even talk to a live person right now at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. Let's take a summer vacation from house payments at SaveWithConrad.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Grillin' JR with the voice of professional wrestling, Mr. Jim Ross. Jim, how are you, man?
I'm good, Connie. I'm good. Thanks for having me on today.
Man, we were excited that you were back in the saddle and we are returning to form here with Grilling JR. Greatly appreciate all you guys showing up and hanging out with us. Our topic today is going to be The Rock in the year 2000. But before we talk about 25 years ago, I do briefly want to talk about what's going on right now, Jim. There's a lot of folks who were kind of nervous and anxious about WWE being in Saudi Arabia this weekend. Of course, they've got a SmackDown event and then Night of Champions on Saturday. I know we don't make it a rule to talk about politics here on the show, but I did want to try to draw on your past experiences. How many times do you think you've been to the Middle East for professional wrestling, Jim?
I think either one or two, not much.
What was your experience like over there? Did you ever do any of those tributes to the troop shows?
Let me think. I may have done one, but it's always an adventure when you go abroad like that. And so yeah, I think I've done one, maybe two, but I'm ready to go back.
So it was not something that you felt unsafe or WWE and the State Department or however that was rolled out. You felt good about it.
Yeah, I felt fine. I didn't have any apprehensions.
Well, I know we're all excited to see the event this weekend. Of course, we're hoping that everybody stays safe. They've got a pretty loaded card. We see John Cena and CM Punk on the card, and Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, and lots of fun stuff happening on the show. But I think the conversation around the show has taken away from the actual excitement of the event itself. That's got to be a frustrating thing for promotion, isn't it?
A little bit. It's a little challenging. That's the thing about, you want that one attraction, that one or two matches that just jump off the page at you. And I think they have that, but they also have seemingly a lot of the sameness. So, but we'll see how it works out. I think it should be good.
Well, I know a lot of people were excited about John Cena's promo this past weekend. The internet wrestling community just lit on fire back in 2011 with CM Punk's infamous pipe bomb promo. And John Cena kind of recreated that in 2025. This past weekend on SmackDown, we saw John take CM Punk to task, and it was very reminiscent of the promo from 2011. Did you have a chance to see John Cena's pipe bomb promo? And what are you thinking of John Cena as a heel, if you've had to catch any of that this year?
Well, it's freshened John up. He's a little fresher, new coat of paint, shall we say. I didn't see the promo live as it happened, but from what I understand and what you're saying, it was effective.
We also want to ask you about a note about the announce team. I don't know if you saw this, but Pat McAfee has missed a few episodes of TV. And he recently was on his Pat McAfee show and basically said, "Hey guys, I'm exhausted. Continuing to just catch up on life as a whole. Post Money in the Bank, pre-Night of Champions feels like a good time. I was getting pretty exhausted there. So shout out to everybody, to WWE for looking out for me too. Very, very thankful. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think this is great, but I am curious. Like, that feels like a sentence we would have never heard in the Vince McMahon era of WWE. I mean, it was rare for an announcer to miss a show way back when, right?
Oh yeah, it was very rare. Well, he's a unique act, and he kind of steers his own ship. It seems like, but he's got a good gig there, man. I'm sure he's making great money. He's working a part-time schedule, so good for him. I hope he continues to do well and sticks with it. He adds to the shows because he's so irreverent and different. So I'm a fan of his work, and I'm glad that he's still doing what he does. But you don't want to get some announcer bigger than the product, and I'm not saying that's the case here, but it's getting close.
Well, it's also getting close to AEW All In. It's going to be AEW's first ever stadium show here in the United States. It's at Globe Life Field, which is Arlington, Texas, right where the Cowboys play in the suburbs of Dallas. And it's going down on Saturday, July 12th. This is a big opportunity, and boy, have they stacked the deck. What a card we're going to get. We know for sure we're getting a rematch that JR and, well, the rest of the wrestling world loves. It's Kenny Omega and Okada once again. This time they're going to be combining the titles. Kenny Omega comes in as the international champ. Okada comes in as the continental champ. What do you expect to see in this match, Jim?
Oh man, that's hard to call. They're both great. They both work their best matches in the biggest environments, biggest situations. So I think it'll be good. I think it'll be real good. They got great chemistry. They've danced before, and it's always been a good result. Strong performances. So I think it's going to be good, man. I like both those guys a lot, and I can't see how it can be anything but great.
It is going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. Of course, we know that they've set wrestling history, as a trilogy before. And I know that you called a lot of those matches. I mean, Wrestle Kingdom 11, we saw Kenny and Okada go 46 minutes, and Okada got the win. I think that match in particular may have been one that you said was arguably one of the all-time greatest matches you've ever seen. We saw him go 60 minutes and do a draw in Osaka. And now we're gonna finally see a match here on American soil. Of course, there was another match in Osaka that went 64 minutes, and Kenny won. So if you're keeping score, Kenny's got to win, Okada's got to win, and they have a draw. If you had the all powerful pencil here, would you just flip a coin? I mean,
I don't know if I'd flip a coin, but I think I lean towards Omega winning. And not for any particular reason either, but they got great chemistry. They've danced before. There's just no reasons that match shouldn't be a show stealer. It's booked that way. It should deliver that way. So if nothing else, you're going to watch one match on the show. That'd be the one I'd pick out.
We've also seen Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné announced for the women's world title. John Moxley and Hangman Adam Page for the men's world title, and an AEW men's casino gauntlet match and an AEW women's casino gauntlet match. So we'll have 5 matches announced as you and I are recording, and in total transparency, we are recording Wednesday morning, so in advance of Dynamite. So by the time you're hearing this, maybe there was another match announced, but I bring this up, Jim, because historically we've seen AEW load up a pay-per-view with a ton of matches, and there's still a little bit of time to get there. But we've seen WWE lean more towards 5 matches a pay-per-view. We know that AEW is in a different game than WWE because WWE has premium live events that are included with a streaming service, AEW are still the kings of pay-per-view when it comes to professional wrestling. So they're going to try to over-deliver. I'm sure between 0 hour and the actual pay-per-view, I mean, you'll wind up with 4 or 5 hours of great wrestling action. But it does feel like there's going to be less matches on this card. Do you think we're going to see longer matches here, Jim? I mean, with some of the talent and the matches that have been announced so far, they do all lend themselves to being longer matches, right?
Yeah, I think so. And that's my take on it. I think the longer matches are the better. They give a chance to tell a better story, to engage the audience in a more emotional way. So, but I still think Omega's got to me, I'm leaning towards him winning, but it'll be a great match. It'll be those two guys are proud. They've headlined major events and huge stadiums and so forth. So they know what they're doing. And I think that whatever they decide to do, whatever's chosen for them, will be the right thing. It should be really entertaining.
I, for one, am pumped to see what happens at AEW's first stadium show. Of course, tickets are on sale now, AEWTIX.com. But you should also know that StarCast is going to be there that weekend. We've started to announce a whole bunch of talent. We've started to announce a whole bunch of panels. Bracelets are on sale right now. You can grab your gold bracelet or your platinum bracelet at STARRCAST.com. You don't want to miss it on Friday, July 11th or Saturday, July 12th. As a recap, this is like a week-long event for you because Garland, Texas, which is a short drive away, you can actually go see AEW Dynamite on July 9th. Collision will be taped in the same building on July 10th. And then on Friday, you get to start your day, and it's an all-day affair at StarCast at the Sheraton in Arlington. And then, of course, that night, we get the Ring of Honor pay-per-view on Friday, July 12th. We're going to start early again on Saturday morning on July 12th, and we're going to welcome a whole host of legends. And then we'll go walk a couple of blocks to the stadium and see AEW's first stadium show, AEW All In. It is a matinee affair. And I'm, for one, excited about a panel that's never happened before and realistically may never happen again. The Texas Legends will have John Layfield. We'll have Stan Hansen. We'll have Dustin Rhodes. We'll have Dory Funk Jr. We'll have Kevin Von Erich. This is a who's who of Texas legends. And you just think about the last names associated with this. Rhodes, Funk, Von Erich, Hansen, and Layfield. I mean, realistically, this has never happened before, and I think it's a safe bet it never will again. What a pro photo op that's going to be for longtime Texas wrestling fans, don't you think, Jim?
Oh yeah, three of the pillars of that the Texas wrestling tradition has been built upon. Very impressive list, and certainly worth the price of admission, as the old cliche goes. Those guys right there. They all have contributed in different generations in different ways. When you got a Von Erich and you got a Funk, you got the great Stan Hansen, it's pretty damn impressive.
There's going to be a who's who at StarCast. We hope you'll be amongst the who's. Go grab your bracelets right now. That's going to get you access to the events. Dirty Dave Silva's going to be there. Good old JR hopes to be there. I'm going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. You should be too. It's STARRCAST.com. Friday, July 11th and Saturday, July 12th at the Sheraton in Arlington. But Jim, our topic today is The Rock. And boy, we knew he was going to be a big star. I don't think back in 2000, anybody knew how quite big of a star he was going to be. But it is interesting to take a look back at his year 2000, because this is a time where we're going to see Stone Cold Steve Austin be on the shelf. And we know that he's going to have to go down for that neck surgery. We all remember the car angle from Survivor Series 99. And it does feel like the year 2000 with Austin on the shelf, the path has been cleared for The Rock to claim his status as the top dog in WWE in that year. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Give him an opportunity. And Dwayne always took advantage of his opportunities. He's a game day player. That's what happens when you get the great athlete, to get the ball player in you to come out. So, and yeah, he was just at the right place at the right time, and more importantly, he was ready. He was ready to ascend to the top Austin's injury gave him the door open, and it seemed to work out really well. The end of the day, it obviously has worked out extremely well.
We start the year off with him having a book make the New York Times bestseller list. This is very much in the era where WWE got into the book business. They would use their promotional machine to hammer these books out, and it was quite successful. Of course, Mick Foley got him kicked off, but I mean, The Rock is going to have a book here that debuts at number 2 on the New York Times bestseller list. The Rock Says. I mean, certainly a different time, a different era, and as successful commercially as the book may have been, I don't think it resonated with fans or had the same sort of heart, if you will, that Mick Foley's book did. But a lot of that is because Mick was riding around handwriting his. It's
Right.
a little different what Foley did and Rock did with their books, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Different feeling, different philosophy. Uh, but I liked the Rock's book. I enjoyed it. Uh, was it the greatest book I ever read? Maybe not, but it wasn't bad at all. So I was happy with the process, and I was happy with the results. He sold a lot of books, and the debut at number 2 is nothing to scoff at.
I do want to know, when we're taking a look at the year 2000, there was some controversy that you may not even recall, but there was a radio show that was quite controversial. A couple of shock jocks, Opie and Anthony, based out of New York. And of course, these guys are long since separated and doing their own thing. But once upon a time, Opie and Anthony were a big doggone deal. And then, of course, we know with the creation of satellite radio, they took their act there. But one of the things they get themselves in a little bit of controversy with in January of 2000 is when The Rock goes on the show to promote his new book. And they had a character appear on the show who basically attacked The Rock verbally with a lot of racist remarks about his African American and Samoan heritage. And The Rock did not take too kindly to this, and it becomes an ugly situation, and it gets some publicity. I think at that point, everyone realizes, hey, let's try to make the best out of a bad situation. So they try to promote future appearances and lean into this controversy to court a little bit of attention. But anytime you put a talent on a radio show to promote a book and their ethnicity is going to be attacked, I mean, this is probably something that The Office is going to talk about in WWE. Does any of this ring a bell to you?
Yeah, it's controversial. It's a waste of time. It was negative PR, shall we say? Uh, I just don't believe that race. You're looking for shock jock type stuff. That'll provide that for you, but I don't know how healthy it is, quite frankly, and the overall picture. I'd rather see it go another direction.
Yeah, I think we all agree with that. I think The Rock handled it about as well as he could, and the company did too. Um, it is what it is, man. It was a different time. I guess you kind of had to be there. I mean, back then, these guys weren't the only shock jocks. Of course, this is years before we would see Howard Stern get in trouble for Nipplegate or whatever it was with Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake, and then all of the other fallout that would lead to really the resurgence or creation rather of satellite radio. But let's talk a little bit about what's happening inside the confines of WWE. The Royal Rumble 2000 is low key one of my favorite shows of the year. We had an incredible tag match with the Dudleys and the Hardys, kind of a breakout performance at that point for the Dudleys. We also saw Triple H go ahead and retain his title against Cactus Jack. Just a brutal street fight, thumbtacks and everything else. 4.5 stars. But the reason everybody showed up to the pay-per-view that day is not the tag match or not the world title match. People want to know who's going to win the Rumble. Who better than The Rock in 51 minutes and 49 seconds? It's going to come down to Big Show and The Rock, and The Rock is victorious. There's a little bit of controversy here because I guess they do a spot here where both of The Rock's feet touch. We're going to ignore that because that's not the story we're telling. And there's a little bit more controversy in the newsletters, which always makes me laugh. because I guess it was said ahead of time that there's going to be 1 minute intervals between the entrances, and sometimes it's a minute 30 and other times it's a minute 50. I don't think any of that stuff really matters, but when it comes to both feet touching the floor, I know it doesn't really line up with the story you're trying to tell because we want The Rock to win. But if the camera caught both feet touching the floor, did we make the right call? Should we have pivoted, or is it something we can turn a blind eye to? Because, hey, it's just storytelling. Who cares?
Yeah, I don't believe it's something you turn a blind eye to. I think it's real. Here it is. It's avoidable, quite frankly, and it should have been avoided. It should have been ignored to some degree. But I like I like the fact that you cover what you see, and if both feet touch, then he's gone. He's illuminated himself. But that's not how it worked out. That's not how it went down, and it was all done to protect Rock, which I can understand. I had no problem with that. But that's what it was. It came down to the fact that we're going to make sure Dwayne is protected, and we finish our story that we're trying to tell.
It's interesting because you guys do wind up revealing that he did touch, and then even the next day on Raw, Big Show's going to come out and say, "Hey, his feet touched. I want my title shot against Triple H." Of course, Triple H was victorious in his defense against Cactus Jack. But that ultimately, I think, lends itself to leading towards a multi-man main event at WrestleMania. Do you think that you had that multi-man WrestleMania main event in mind in advance of this foot touching controversy at the Royal Rumble? Like, had we not had Rock's feet touch inadvertently, allegedly, would the main event have been mano a mano, like Triple H versus The Rock? Was that supposed to be the main event? But because of this, we piled a few more people in there.
I'm not sure what was meant to be. I like the mano a mano approach. I like the one-on-one matchups. I would love to have seen Rock and Triple H in a one-on-one match. I think it'd been outstanding. But I don't need to see. I'm not big on multiple person matches for the title. The four ways and the triple threats and all those things. It seems to me that they're more often than not seem to be a cop out. They seem to be something that we kind of are forced into, and I don't necessarily think that's a good deal.
Let's talk about TV Guide. That's an interesting topic in 2025 because who the hell even knows what happened to that magazine? But man, 25 years ago, it had the biggest publication distribution of any magazine in the United States, and it wasn't even close. So it's always a big deal when WWE gets to showcase some of their talent on the cover of that magazine. And we would see for the week between January 29th and February 4th, Triple H, The Rock, Mankind, and China all on the cover. Now, they're not going to run a wrestling story inside the magazine, but still, they're on the cover of the thing. Now, what's interesting here is that decision would have seemingly been made fairly recently because as you'll remember, it's November when Stone Cold goes down with the neck injury. You got to assume he would have been on one of the covers. But when you get The Rock and Triple H, I mean, clearly we think we're headed towards a WrestleMania type main event. We know Mankind has been put through the paces. It makes sense that he would be there with his high profile match that he just had with Triple H. But China, that's kind of cool with the benefit of hindsight. I think a lot of people would have assumed that perhaps it could have been Big Show, since we know that he was also in the finish and he's going to be involved in the main event. But it does tell you from a marketability standpoint, WWE saw a lot of dollars in China.
Female.
Yeah.
The female aspect of that contributed greatly to the situation. So, and I'm not saying she didn't deserve to be there. She earned her spot, and it was good to be able to have a viable female star in that equation. And she certainly filled the bill in that respect.
We should mention that the main event on Monday Night Raw at the Reunion Arena in Dallas on February 7th has a sellout, nearly 13,000 fans, over $367,000 at the gate. But the main event is what Meltzer called one of the best in a long time. Triple H is going to team with X-Pac and the Radicals to take on Too Cool, Rikishi, Cactus Jack, and The Rock. And as we know, Dave Meltzer was not always passing out great ratings for Monday Night Raw matches, but he did here. 4.25 stars. He said it had the best heat of any match on Raw in more than a year. One of the big highlights was seeing Rikishi go up for Benoit's German suplex. Meltzer would say it's just one of those nights where everything clicked perfectly. The finish had Eddie Guerrero from the outside trip Grandmaster Sexay. Triple H give him a pedigree, and then Benoit pin him after a diving headbutt. But here come the New Age Outlaws with a pipe, and they're going to lay out all the faces. And then Kane comes down with Paul Bearer, and the pop is ridiculous for Kane coming down. This feels like, a vote of confidence in the rest of the roster. I mean, you're throwing a lot of things at this main event.
Right.
But it was such an almost unfathomable concept of we've got to follow Stone Cold. Like, the fans are here for Stone Cold. He's on the shelf. What do we do? How can we super serve him? Can we survive without Stone Cold? Well, this match proved that, hey, things are going to be fine. Do you remember Vince or others being nervous about how are we going to make it a year without our top act here? I know that sounds silly because it is such a loaded roster, but it feels unfathomable almost that in a prior era, a Hulk Hogan era, that when that machine was really cranking at its peak, you just removed the top star. Was that a challenge, or was it more of an opportunity for the rest of the roster to step up?
Big challenge. And you wonder how well you're going to do without your star and without Stone Cold. Because make no doubt about it, he was the show was built around him. He was the biggest star we had to that date. He was the biggest star that we ever had. So you never know exactly how it's going to be received. But those guys came out without Austin and delivered. And I think that they took that as a personal challenge that we're going to get an opportunity to shine here. The spotlight's going to be on us. So let's deliver. Let's go out there and take care of business. And they did. And I was very proud and happily surprised at the positive results that match yielded.
The next week, we're going to see The Rock wrestle Chris Benoit on Monday Night Raw, and it's going to be their very first singles match. I mention this because these guys had several magical matches through the years, but I noticed that it felt like The Rock really stepped his game up anytime he had a match with Chris Benoit.
I think everybody did, Conrad.
Talk to me about that. Why do you think that was?
Work ethic, a gladiator mentality. Benoit was a no-nonsense guy. It's obviously horrible what happened in the latter days of his life, but as far as just a pure wrestler was concerned, he was hard to beat.
Do you think certain talents felt like they had maybe a chip on their shoulder and they wanted to prove that? Because I know that a lot of guys, we saw in more recent years, there was a lot of criticism of MJF who would say, oh, he's just a promo. Oh, he's a one-trick pony. Oh, he's not a great wrestler. And then we see him go out there and just have an absolute barn burner with Bryan Danielson. And then a lot of people start to change their tunes. We saw that way back when with Sting and Vader. Everybody loves Sting, and he's the baby face, and he's the franchise, and all that. But it did feel like Vader brought out the best in Sting, and we saw fantastic matches. And I think that's what we were seeing here with The Rock and Chris Benoit. Maybe The Rock wanted to prove, hey, man, there's nothing this guy can do that I can't do. And it does feel like he really steps his game up, and the result is incredible matches. Benoit, I think, brought out some of the best in The Rock.
Yeah, and everybody else that he worked with. It's just his pace, his intensity was just beyond compare. I'll always have great respect for Chris's wrestling abilities. Nobody can condone what he did in the latter days of his life involving his family. But as far as just wrestling, he was very hard to beat. He was just extremely, extremely talented. I loved his intensity, and I think he brought out that same intensity with just about everybody that he worked with.
By the time we get to February and the No Way Out pay-per-view, we're going to have another sellout, surprise, but $451,000 at the gate. around 100 grand in merch. But the big surprise is Big Show beats The Rock in 7.5 minutes, supposedly to earn the title shot at WrestleMania. I think that's fascinating to think about the story and how we started, of course, at the Royal Rumble with this controversy of did he touch or didn't he? We're going to settle at a pay-per-view. The winner gets the title shot. And so at least at this moment, coming out of the match, it does feel like that's going to be your main event. Big Show versus Triple H. Now, of course, if you were reading the Wrestling Observer newsletter, you would see Dave say, it seems almost certain that Helmsley versus Rock is still the WrestleMania main event. But with 5 weeks to go, they figure they can throw some more stipulations out there to get Rock over Show for the slot, or if necessary, make it a three-way. Although in this case, without Foley and with Show, a three-way clearly hurts the match. So this feels like where we start to get towards that whole a McMahon in every corner idea. Who do you remember first mentioning a McMahon in every corner or championing that idea?
I think that was Vince.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was Vince. It was kind of a challenging sell because you wonder what we're going to do with all the McMahons. What are you going to do with Linda? What are you going to do with Steph? It was unique times, and it was a unique match. So I was not sold on it in the beginning. I got more sold on it as time went on, but it was a unique stipulation, obviously, to say the least.
We know that by March, we're going to see that they actually wind up doing that title shot match that Big Show earned at the No Way Out pay-per-view. He's going to get a shot against Triple H in his world title on Monday Night Raw. It's going to happen in Chicago in one of the hottest Raw crowds in history. Another sellout, over 13,000 fans paying nearly $400,000. Meltzer would say it was almost too hot. This was supposed to be the main event WrestleMania, of course. We're talking about Big Show and Triple H. We know that The Rock's going to get involved. Vince is going to get involved. Shane's going to get involved. Even Foley is going to get involved here because Linda comes out and announces that the WrestleMania main event, as far as should The Rock get the shot against Triple H or should Big Show get the shot against Triple H, she suggests that Foley should be in the main event as well. It's going to be a 4-way elimination match at WrestleMania. This is an interesting decision, and I know now this might not make sense, but back then, you got to remember, in the year 2000, we've never seen a multi-man WrestleMania match in the main event space ever. I know there was the tag match, but I mean as far as a 3-way or a 4-way, that had never happened before. It had always been, as you said, mano a mano, 2 guys on a poster. Now we've got 4. Do you feel like, with the benefit of hindsight, that was perhaps an overreaction to the absence of Stone Cold?
Might have been.
Okay.
Might have been. Overcompensation.
Yeah.
More's better type thing. But still, you can't replace Austin with 2 or 3 guys. He was that over. I just wasn't a big fan of it. I wasn't a big fan of all those bodies involved in one match.
We're going to see, of course, we know it'll be known as a McMahon in every corner. Linda, of course, with Mick, Shane with the Big Show, The Rock having the support of Vince McMahon, and of course, who else than Stephanie supporting her man Triple H. I wonder if they were talking about these sort of things over dinner back then. It was a family affair. Speaking of dinner, Jim and I, we're big dinner guys. And these days, it can feel like there's no price difference in eating out or staying in. And to make matters worse, there's so many unhealthy options out there you got to sift through. But Home Chef can help you save money and eat healthier with their fresh, delicious meal kits that are delivered straight to your door. You see, Home Chef delivers fresh ingredients and chef-designed recipes conveniently to your doorstep to simplify your cooking experience. Users of leading meal kits have rated Home Chef #1 in quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe. Whether you prefer classic meal kits with pre-portioned ingredients, quick 30-minute recipes, oven-ready options, microwave meals, or a dedicated family menu, Home Chef has everything you and your family need for hassle-free, delicious dinners. Home Chef has over 30 options a week and serves a variety of dietary needs, Plus, it's economical. Home Chef customers save an average of $86 a month on their groceries. And when meal planning ends up on the back burner, we want you to check up Home Chef's new 5-ingredient meals. They simplify prep with super easy recipes because they have just 5 fresh, pre-portioned ingredients. It doesn't get any easier or tastier than that. And right now, for a limited time only, Home Chef is offering our listeners 50% off plus free shipping on your first box plus free dessert for life. Go right now to homechef.com/JR. That's homechef.com/JR. You'll get 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. Homechef.com/JR. Of course, you must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. Free dessert for life, Jim. They're talking our language over here.
Oh yeah, that's right down my alley. I'm all for that free dessert for life thing. They have a great product. Home Chef has great ingredients. They make it idiot proof. And so they're a great sponsor for us because they provide an outstanding product for our viewers and our fans. So can't endorse Home Chef enough.
Go check it out right now. Homechef.com/JR. Free dessert for life. Come on. Hey, let's talk about Saturday Night Live. We're going to see The Rock here as a guest host, and we'll have special guest appearances on this program. I love Saturday Night Live back then. Big Show, Mick Foley, Vince, Triple H, they're all on the show. But The Rock is hilarious here. And I think a lot of people would agree this is going to be one of his breakout performances that perhaps shows Hollywood what he can really do, as he does several comedy sketches. And of course, I mean, everybody did a great job. But the idea that The Rock is going to show his acting chops and his versatility and his range and all that, it's a big deal for him. But I'm curious, do you think this was perceived to be a big deal by Vince? Like, Saturday Night Live at this point was an institution on TV, and it is quote unquote mainstream. Obviously, the WWF has never been hotter here in the year 2000. Did it still feel like a big deal to Vince?
Yeah.
What's the priority?
It's still Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Still Saturday Night Live with that history and heritage. And Rock really came out swinging. He was a star of the presentation and did a phenomenal job of drawing a positive attention to the WWF product on that broadcast. So he took advantage. So he maximized his minutes, shall we say, and he did it in a big way.
I want to mention too, we've got to point out that this episode of Saturday Night Live is going to be the highest rated of the season. So it is something that works well for Lorne Michaels and for Vince McMahon. I know there's probably almost no chance you remember this, but I do feel like I need to ask. Do you think that perhaps Saturday Night Live just wanted the WWF's involvement, or did they want The Rock and maybe Vince insisted on, hey, let's get the rest of the main event involved here too?
I think the latter.
Okay.
They knew they were going to get The Rock, and The Rock was going to deliver, but I think that certainly it was a joined effort and led by The Rock. So, Vince knew what he was doing. It was smart booking, and Lorne Michaels knew what he was doing, as he's proven over the decades of producing great Saturday Night Live events. So, no, I think Rock took advantage of the opportunity. He always seized the opportunity. He was very timely in his performances. It did a great job. Just did a great job.
I do want to spend just a minute here and talk about The Rock, because it's written here on the WrestleMania preview by Dave Meltzer about all the different possible results of the WrestleMania main event. And he says, there's little doubt the plan, even as of a few weeks ago, was for Rock to come out as champion. The company had been building for that coronation of The Rock as the face of the company for months, even before Austin went down with a career-threatening neck injury. If that doesn't happen, it would probably be because The Rock will be doing the movie Mummy 2 for much of May and June in England. Although WWF business is so strong right now that it could book anything and be successful. It's probably not in anyone's best interest to spend a year building up Rock for the title and taking it away in 1 month. There's no business reason why Rock can't win the title and have the title on ice for about 6 weeks while he's gone. in its own way, it actually gives the title credibility, but that would go against the grain of modern wrestling, where almost everything is done for the moment. Now, this is where it starts to get dicey, because if you know you're without your top star in Steve Austin, and you knew the guy in the on deck circle, who's up next is The Rock, and now we're going to be featuring The Rock as the host of Saturday Night Live. Yeah, we certainly want to focus on him and make him the champ, but it's not really convenient if a month after he wins the title, he's gone for 6 weeks to make a movie. How does Vince handle this, and what sort of conversations are you guys having? I mean, is Vince a victim of his own success here?
Maybe. Certainly, uh, you expect The Rock to deliver. He always delivered. And in the environment, Dwayne always stood above the pack. Even with Austin out, nobody seemed to miss Steve as much as they normally would, thanks to The Rock. The Rock was there. He was hot. People wanted to see him perform, do his thing. So I think that his contributions can't be underscored in that era because of the guy. Stone Cold was just a phenomenon, and for Rock to have to step into those shoes was challenging, but he pulled it off and did a real good job with it.
I do want to ask you about The Rock and the way he saw himself in this era. He does an interview with the Baltimore Sun that comes out on March 15th. It's a major feature on The Rock. And he's got a quote in here that Dave Meltzer points out. He says, quote, "I believe the term pro wrestler has become passé. When people view the character of The Rock, professional wrestler isn't the first thing they think of. They think of the larger than life television entertainer or artist." Now, that's the way The Rock saw himself in March of 2000. And I mean, obviously, we know today people are going to know him for a lot more things than just professional wrestling. But even in March of 2000, I got to think almost everyone you would ask would say, "Oh, The Rock's a pro wrestler." I think it's cool that he saw that in himself. And I'm wondering, do you think that was something that was his ambition outside of WWE? Or was that Vince sort of drilling into him? We're not wrestlers, we're sports entertainers.
Vince certainly believes that, Conrad, that they're sports entertainers and not just pro wrestlers, one dimensional. Rock was never one dimensional. He had a lot of layers to his character and to his persona, and I think that helped him overall. Again, look at who he followed. And did he miss a beat by following Stone Cold when Steve got hurt? Not really. He did a hell of a job. And he rose to the occasion. He delivered. And that's what we were hoping he would do, and he did.
One of the things I've always appreciated about The Rock's approach is he wouldn't really be pigeonholed. And again, this is going to be weird as a guy from Oklahoma and a guy from Alabama are talking about this, but in that same article in the Baltimore Sun, March 15th, 2000, The Rock does talk about his ethnicity. He says, quote, "So often men of color in our industry are typecast and stereotyped, and then it becomes very limiting. The Rock has no color. No one looks at The Rock and says, oh yeah, that's the guy that's half this and half that." And I do think that has been part of his Hollywood success. I mean, what the hell do I know? But it doesn't feel like he has tried to allow himself to be cast as a Samoan character or an African American character. He's The Rock.
That's smart. I mean,
Yeah.
It was very smart. I'm not a big ethnicity guy. You're a star or you're not a star.
That's right.
And The Rock was a star. He became a star. He made himself a star. And I just was very impressed with how he evolved and how he delivered when this opportunity came about. So he just got bigger than big. He outgrew the stereotypical pro wrestling box. He kicked his way out of that box and became even bigger.
We should mention by the time we get to WrestleMania, it is an interesting time in the company. Of course, it's It's May of 2000 when we're talking about this. April of 2000, very beginning of the month. And we're heading to this four-way. And Meltzer would say on the preview that he felt like, the plan should have been, or was originally, The Rock would win. But he thought that fans perhaps really wanted to see Foley win as that underdog who's been talked out of retirement and all that jazz. When the four-way match gets here, though, it's really feeling more like a Monday Night Raw. It doesn't exactly feel like a WrestleMania main event. They do get plenty of time, 36 minutes and 28 seconds, and somehow, some way, Triple H retains the title in a four-way. Show's going to dominate everyone early. He's out in just under 5 minutes. And, when it's all said and done, we've got all the McMahons involved, and Vince is bleeding, and Vince is going to come in the ring. He's going to turn on The Rock, and that eventually allows the opportunity for Triple H to retain. It's maybe we found out the hard way why there had not been multi-man WrestleMania matches. And in fact, the only singles match on this WrestleMania match was one with Terry Runnels. So it's a ladies match. So, and ladies in 2000 were not doing the type of wrestling they're doing now. This year, without Austin and with Rock having Hollywood ambition, it doesn't feel like by the time WrestleMania gets here, things are going according to plan. When the final curtain falls that night, all the tickets were sold. So you've got a lot of business momentum, but creatively, do you think Vince felt satisfied when the final curtain fell on WrestleMania here in 2000?
I don't see how he could have, quite frankly, Conrad. I think that, Vince realized that he's got something unique here. How far do you take it? And again, as a fan of wrestling and someone who's been involved in it now 50 years, I wasn't a big proponent of three ways and four ways in that spot. But that's what we got. And to get those guys involved in the process, to their credit, it seemed like they delivered pretty damn well.
Hey, I wanted to ask, because not only is this the first multi-man match in WrestleMania history, it's also, as far as the main event position, it's also the first time where we have a heel victorious in the main event of WrestleMania. Of course, Triple H comes in as our heel champion, and he's going to leave as the heel. But normally we try to send them home happy. Hogan must pose, and here's the fireworks, and we're going to carry Brett out of the ring and all that sort of stuff. But that's not going to happen here. And what's interesting is the following year, in 2001, that's when Austin turns heel and joins Vince McMahon, and we have a heel leave as champion again. But we wouldn't see that happen again until The Miz beat John Cena in 2011. So it does feel like a risk, and one that we weren't itching to repeat. Was there any pause? Do you remember that creatively to, hey, we always have the good guy win at the end of WrestleMania. We're supposed to.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think to some degree there was some backlash or some doubt, skepticism. And again, like I said, I don't know why I felt this way, but it just didn't feel right to me that she would travel this road.
No doubt. I can't help but wonder, what the original plan could have been if Austin was going to be there. But going with a four-way, having a heel victorious, and then having your baby face, we know he's going to give an opportunity to chase. So I could see, if you don't look at WrestleMania in a vacuum and you look at the subsequent pay-per-views, the money's always been in the baby face chasing the title, right?
I think so. That's kind of the traditional way of booking a match. The good guy chases and tries to fulfill his dreams and win. But it seemed like we started outgrowing that a little bit.
We're going to talk about the pay-per-view coming up where The Rock is going to be challenging Triple H. It's going to be Backlash. It happens on April 30th at the MCI Center in Washington, D.C. And this is actually where Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to make his return. In the main event, we see The Rock win the title from Triple H. It goes 19 minutes and 24 seconds. Shane McMahon is the referee. Vince and Stephanie are in Triple H's corner. And of course, we know Stone Cold is here to support The Rock. And when his music hits, man, it's bananas. Fans are so excited to see him back. The Rock's going to use the spine buster. He's going to hit the people's elbow. Hebner's going to count the fall, and Rock is the new champion. He's going to be celebrating. He's going to be interrupted again by Austin's music, and they're going to tease the idea that they fight. But instead, they toast each other, and there's certainly a tease that there could be more to this story in the future. But 3 3/4 stars. There's a huge crowd reaction, and the buy rate is about 78% of what WrestleMania did earlier this same month. Remember now, WrestleMania was at the very beginning of April. Backlash here is at the very end of April. But you're going to retain 78% of your buys. And normally, Jim, I've been led to believe there's always a dip after WrestleMania.
All right.
But when you can prop it up like this, that shows you the power of Stone Cold Steve Austin, even if he's not wrestling, right?
Oh yeah, he was so over. And that data you just quoted is certainly proof of that. Stone Cold was the most over guy in the company, without a doubt. He was the most over guy ever in the company, in my opinion, without a doubt. So he was on that when Hogan was at his hottest. He didn't supplant Stone Cold as the guy. Austin was just that over.
And if you want to get over, let me go ahead and tell you how. Guys, enter the room dick first. Blue Chew isn't just a tablet. It's a cheat code for your crotch. Stronger, harder, longer lasting. Like someone gave your downstairs a pep talk at a gym membership, Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. Serious business. I tried Blue Chew, and now my hog has a zip code and voting rights. Guys, this isn't just about performance. It's about legacy, or third legacy. Give her group chat something to talk about. You know, when you lay it down, they're talking about how it gets up. Well, nothing makes you more of a legend than a little Blue Chew. Discover your options at bluechew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. As always, you get your first month of Blue Chew free. Just use the promo code JR at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Join Blue Chew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Head to bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we want to give a big thanks to Blue Chew for sponsoring today's podcast. Jim, I don't know that the Rock story can really be told without the year 2000, but with the benefit of hindsight, I mean, if you had the pencil, as we like to say, do you think you would have had The Rock and Triple H just mano a mano at the main event of WrestleMania, put The Rock over? Would you have done that? Or do you like the idea of let's get the WrestleMania pay-per-view sales in, and then let's have him chase and win it the following month? I mean, they probably made more money doing it the way they did, but creatively, I don't know. It does feel like that WrestleMania becomes very skippable with the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah, it does, sort of. Again, that's because it was, to me, it was kind of watered down.
Yeah.
The focus wasn't on the two stars that we're talking about in Rock and Triple H. They were both set up for success. They both always delivered, in my opinion. So, but I think that it's almost like we missed a generation. We advanced the story to a level that we had not seen before, and it just didn't deliver as I personally had hoped that it would.
I do want to ask you about something else that's in the news, but before I do, I want to talk about back then, because I think one of the reasons that Foley may have gotten this WrestleMania main event, as you'll all remember, we had that fabulous street fight with Cactus Jack and Triple H at the Royal Rumble. And then we had the No Way Out Hell in a Cell. And that was ultimately the match where if Foley lost, he would have to retire. And then almost immediately he unretires. He's cut his hair off. He thinks he's done, and he's going to be back. And he's got this main event WrestleMania opportunity. I bring that up because in '99, I think once upon a time it was supposed to be a three-way, and that got changed, and it was mano a mano, and now we're going to do a four-way here with a McMahon in every corner. Do you think there was consideration that Mick Foley had quote unquote earned a WrestleMania main event and that's what we needed there? Or did we just need another underdog? Was it too lopsided if we wanted to have The Rock in there with Triple H and Big Show, and we can't have it really be 2-on-1 against The Rock as two bad guys against one good guy, even though it is, a three-way dance. Was this more of a reward for Mick Foley, or was it out of necessity creatively?
Yeah, a little bit of both, I think, quite frankly. Mick deserved the opportunity. He had worked his ass off to earn the credibility, shall we say, in that respect. But he earned his spot. And at that time, we needed him to get over. And he delivered. He got over. And he did a great job. So we were lucky to have Mick on the roster at that time because he contributed a great deal to the success of those events that he was involved in.
I also want to ask you about a comment that Mick Foley made recently. He said that he believes the iconic Hell in a Cell match against The Undertaker that went down in June of '98 in Pittsburgh would have been forgotten about in the more recent social media era. Quote, there was no social media at the time. I think it would have been on social media and it would have been a big deal for 3 or 4 days, but then largely forgotten. That's interesting to think about. And the more I think about it, the more I think he's probably right, because we've seen some incredible spectacles, not to compare the two because they're not the same performer.
Right.
But Darby Allin has taken some incredibly high risk stunts, I guess we'll call it, in AEW, that I do think if they happened, on television or on pay-per-view or what have you in 1998, I mean, the risk involved is similar, if not greater, than what Foley went through. But because there was no social media, it was more of a must see. And I don't know. I do think he may be onto something. What say you? Do you think that if that bump happened in the social media era, it would resonate the way it did in 1998?
I kind of look at it like, risk reward type scenario. Mick did a great job of setting the table for his style, for his character, and added a hell of a lot to the presentation. But because he was so unique, he was different. And I always admired Mick for that because he didn't have the great body. He could cut a promo without question. But he was just he's just tremendous in his presentation and who he was and what he meant to the card. He didn't change his style. He brought what he brought to the dance, what brought him there. But he was just he was a gift to us at that time. We needed Mick Foley to get over and be over, and luckily for the WWE, WWF at the time, he did. He succeeded.
No doubt about it. He certainly succeeded. And if you're looking for a great barbecue this weekend, I know how you can succeed. Go right now and check out my man's great stuff at jrsbbq.com. I'm talking about not one, but 2 types of sauce. He's even got his own JR's Red Ass hot sauce. He's got the all-purpose seasoning. He's got the main event mustard, the chipotle ketchup. But he's also got autograph goods. You can get trading cards and action figures and even books. There's something for everybody at jrsbbq.com, isn't there, Jim?
Absolutely. And it costs nothing to look, as we have stressed in the past. So you check it out. Ease by the site, see if you see anything there you like. I think you will. And join us in some great barbecues, some great food. I have been hooked on the jalapeno honey mustard for quite some time. It's got 1 gram of sugar. I'm stage 2 diabetic, so I watch that very closely, the sugar intake that I consume, and I just love the mustard. It's I don't have a sandwich hardly in my household that doesn't have jalapeno honey mustard on it, and I think that you'll feel the same way I do. It's got great flavor. It's healthy, and I'm not even a mustard guy, but I love our mustard a lot. The JR's jalapeno honey mustard is just terrific.
Check it out, jrsbbq.com. I think you're going to absolutely love it. There's something for everybody. That's jrsbbq.com. Jim, as we're recording tonight, is another big AEW Dynamite. I think they're in Kent, Washington tonight. And of course, we're on a collision course for All In Texas. Jim's going to try to be there. I hope that he gets the huge heroes welcome. I mean, we sort of had all of our event on the StarCast side hinging around you being a big player here. Of course, God had different plans, but even our logo this year, Jim, I put your hat right on top. So I'm hopeful, man, that you're going to get to feeling better and make your triumphant return to professional wrestling on Friday, July 11th and Saturday, July 12th. You can still make an effort to be there too. Go grab a bracelet right now at starcast.com. You're going to have an opportunity to see some panels that you won't see anywhere else. We're not streaming these on Fight or Triller or anywhere else. And meet and greets that we've never had before, including some really unique opportunities. Jim, I think we've even got AEW talked into bringing some cool props and things like that. We're even going to have one of you guys announce this there. How cool is that going to be?
That's nice. That's nice. It was a good feel.
Yeah.
It seemed like it's a great photo op, Conrad.
Yes.
Great photo op.
Well, we hope you guys will make plans to join us, and be sure to catch AEW in a town near you at AEWTIX.com. Jim, next month, they're going to be doing a residency at the old ECW arena. I know you've done a bunch of meet and greets there, but have you ever actually called a wrestling match inside the old ECW arena?
I don't think so. I don't think so, Conrad. I don't recall anyway. So I don't think so, but I sure look forward to doing it.
I want to put that on Tony Khan and AEW's radar. I don't know if you saw this, but recently we saw Tony Schiavone have an opportunity to call AEW in Arena Mexico. And he became the first announcer that I know of to call matches in the Tokyo Dome. He did that with you, by the way. To call matches in Madison Square Garden. You've checked that box. To call matches at Wembley Stadium. You've also checked that box. But he did Arena Mexico, and I think that makes him the only guy to be able to do that. But I think if we could get you to the ECW arena, that would be another box to check. If you called a match there, as a wrestling fan, I'd love to see it. I mean, I wish it was still standing. I'd love to see you call one at the Sportatorium too. Is that even something that crosses your mind that you'd like to call a match in this arena or that arena, that sort of thing?
Yeah. And it's just down the street from Cheesesteaks.
Come on now.
Yeah. I'm talking that. So, no, I like things like that. I like to notch my gun, so to speak, with some of those accomplishments. And one of those would include ECW Arena. And I'm proud for Tony. Tony's done a lot of great things in wrestling. And, you know, he's one of the few guys that connects with me on a regular basis to see how I'm feeling. And for that, I'm very appreciative.
Hey, I do want to ask you, you know, as you're trying to get back, and I know you're on hopefully the downhill slope of this big battle that you've been under health wise. Is there anything that has really motivated you to keep pushing? Like you've done it all in professional wrestling. I mean, we just talked about last week, Dave Meltzer announcing that he's going to name the Announcer of the Year award, the Jim Ross Award, and said it's long overdue. You've won it more than anybody. So we mentioned or just sort of fell into, you haven't called a match in Arena Mexico. You haven't called a match in ECW Arena. Like without me broaching those subjects today, was there anything left on your bucket list or any other boxes you wanted to check outside of that?
No, I'll just get back to work.
Yeah.
I'm tired of sitting at home and I'm excited about the opportunities that await. I am feeling better. My plan is to be in Dallas for the big event. You want to always be near or attached to as best you can the big events that your company that you're working for is promoting. And so I'm excited about the opportunity to get back in the saddle and to kick some ass at some of these events. So I'm like I said, I'm feeling better. You never know about tomorrow. The cancer's gone. which I'm very happy to say. So, you know, I'm blessed that my health has returned, and I'm feeling pretty damn good.
We're glad to hear it, Jim, and we're looking forward to hearing you each and every week here on Grilling JR. I'm so glad we get to return to form. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in for our conversation about The Rock in the year 2000. Can't wait to visit with you next week. If you haven't already, I want to encourage you, go hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell right now at grillingjr.com. You never know when Jim and I are going to be live, but you can join us and ask Jim anything you want. Speaking of which, we plan to do that sooner rather than later. We're going to be picking up our conversation about asking you anything you want, Jim, because we did a little bit of Q&A when we were live last week. We're going to do it again next week. We're going to ask you to take to social media where we'll be soliciting some of your questions. Just use that hashtag AskJR and join us next week where we'll cover a wide range of topics. If you want to know about Leroy McGurk or Mid-South or Bill Watts or Jim Hurd or WCW or Eric Bischoff or Vince McMahon or the WWF, or man, you've done it all. And we're going to get to cover the good, the bad, and the ugly next week. Is there a topic, Jim, that you've had on your mind that you haven't talked about in a long time that you'd really like to discuss a little bit next week? Is there anything you can get off your chest?
The early days of AEW was very entertaining, and adventuresome. So maybe a little bit more of that would be good. I'm very indebted to AEW for hiring me, bringing me on board, and Tony Khan has been amazingly wonderful during my illness. He supported me wholeheartedly, and I really do appreciate that. That's the way a boss should act and should do, is take care of your people. And Tony Khan has certainly taken good care of me, and I plan on being reciprocal and doing my best to take care of him in my role going forward.
Stay tuned, boys and girls. We'll be back next week and every week right here with Grilling JR and the voice of wrestling, Mr. Jim Ross.
Thanks, Conrad. Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in. Tell a friend about our show and join us here on the podcast. We appreciate you guys very much.
So long, everybody. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.